Beer 30 is when you walk into a bar or a VFW, and in that 30 seconds, you can already tell.
That guy right there is drunk, that guy's an idiot, and that guy down there knows it all.
There are programs out there beyond the VA.
Many non-profit organizations. The Beer 30 Show.
It's the Beer 30 Show. Made by veterans.
For veterans.
All right, everybody, thank you, and welcome to another edition of the Beer 30 Show, brought to you by Common Ground Golf Course here in Aurora, Colorado. A place for all and all the game teaches. We have a treat for you today, because today we actually have on the line Tony. Tony is, I want to get this exactly right. Tony is from Operation Job Ready Veterans. Tony, thank you so much for giving us your free time today to talk to us so that we can give some insight to other veterans.
You bet. Thank you, too. I really look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, sorry about we had a lot of delays and everything going on, but we got this going now. I don't know. It's always an issue every week for some reason, and we always have some type of technical difficulties that we've been working the kinks out. But I'm glad you can join us today, Tony, and glad Joel can be here. He's been having a little rough bout with PTSD, which is a common thing. So, anyway, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your organization and what you guys do and how you guys were founded.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I was a career Marine. Had to leave at the end of my career for some disabilities of my own. Found myself, when I left the Marines in 98, going into workforce development as a career, which allowed me to see how we were treating veterans within the private sector, the public sector rather, and how they were being taught when they come back into the community. So during that time, I was into a position where I was the state director for the Veteran Services here in the state of Indiana. And during that time, there was a program that a federal employee thought of called CLEC. And it was actually Crane Learning Employment Center at the time. And it was a program that really focused on disabled veterans that left the military. There's a lot of bureaucracy, as many people know, for a veteran leaving the military to negotiate, such as PTSD, homelessness, abandonment, all these things that the average person sometimes doesn't know.
Right.
I happened to be involved in the earlier pilot for that, and this was in 2007. And right around 2012, I had the opportunity to come back to that pilot program and come in here and stand it up as a full-blown non-for-profit. And what our program does here in the state of Indiana is a transitional program. It's a 5-day program. We've done a pretty good job. We spend a lot of time to get people in the military. We don't spend a whole lot of time to get you out. And if you've had a combat tour, if you've had many tours, then the one thing that people don't realize is there is a transitional issue. Mm-hmm. And what happens is when you go through TAP class, that's your 3 to 5 day class to leave the military, it's not that they've not improved. I mean, they've done a better job with that, but here's the problem. If you're in Kansas City, Missouri, going to a TAP class, and you live in the state of Indiana, and you go back to Peru, Indiana, where there's one stoplight, you just spent 3 combat tours, and the next thing you know, you get back, and you're taking care of your wife and your kids, and you don't have a job. Well, things begin to happen. First of all, if you've not had a disability, that's the first thing you've got to deal with. You've got to deal with the VA issue. So in the military, if we get deployed, what do? The first thing we do is we're able to, as long as the family's okay, then we can be deployed anywhere. We'll do whatever we need to do. But when you get out, you don't have that structure to make sure that family's taken care of. You have to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. What our program focuses on is the veteran that walks into our building on a Monday. We've got a group of about 13 to 15 veterans that are service-connected disabled veterans, combat veterans of every branch, that we can tell that there's something going on. Until you can deal with the transitional issue, you're going to struggle to get a job. We now have run this program now about 3 years in the state of Indiana. We actually are connected to the workforce system here, where we actually run it in the unemployment office in some of the regions. And we just got a statewide program to run in every workforce region here in the state of Indiana. So what we have noticed, I've had several that come through this class that, quite frankly, 2 or 3 of them, they don't want to live. Okay, so with losing 22 veterans a day,
Right.
we're going to deal with that. I've also got people coming in with PTSD and schizophrenia and you name it, they've got it, but they've not dealt with it. And it's a process, as Joe knows. It's a very serious process. And some weeks are not good, some weeks are better than others. But what our focus is to help you in 3 ways. One, we're going to focus on your transitional issue. How you doing? How's the wife doing? How's the kids doing? Where are you at? Are you depressed? And we can tell that. Then we focus on job ready. You know, how job ready are you? You know, what skills did you have in the military that we can bring out to start promoting you? We don't refer you to anybody. What we do is we place veterans in careers. We're running about a 70% placement rate. What's even more staggering, we're running about 85% on sustainment rate after 6 months. Now, there's a reason for that. Most employers don't realize what all veterans face when they come back. So when we connect you with a job, we also have a talent management class that teaches the HR. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you come back from the military. What's the first thing you got to do? You got to check into the VA.
Right.
They're going to schedule your appointments for the VA. What happens when you go get a job? They normally have a policy you can't even miss a day in 90 days. So we need to let the company know, hey, Tony just got out of the military. He's going to be needing to use the VA service. Do you understand how that works? Well, they normally don't. So what we do is we really focus on the transitional piece, the job ready piece, and anything we can help them to make sure that their transition, whether it be a financial issue, paying your electric bills behind, making sure that you got food on the table, making sure you got electric paid, whatever we got to do, because all these things are stresses that cause the person, if they've already got depression, it's going to affect them. So in a nutshell, that's what we do here in the state of Indiana.
That's awesome. Do you guys do it other than Indiana State, or do you, is it just strictly
Well, I'll tell you
Indiana
what, we've got
right
a couple. Yeah, we've got a couple states that want the program, but we got 500,000 people here in the state of Indiana. We got the 4th largest National Guard. So, you know, by us going through this program the last 3 years, we're getting better and better at it to understand what the needs are. And we've met with the VA and we're working with the regional hospital here. So I think I think it'll be a national program in the making. But I think we want to continue to focus on. We have a real need here in the state of Indiana. So I think we need to focus on that for the next couple of years. I think you'll hear about it in years to come, though. I think we're on to something. I think most people that talk about homelessness, PTSD, schizophrenia, depression, the ability to cope, they don't realize that it's a transitional issue. You know, I deal with PTSD. I've got 13 veterans that work for me, and half of them are 3 to 4 to 5 combat tour veterans. So they're in transition themselves, you know, and veterans are a proud group. You know, they don't normally want to go ask for help. Well,
yeah, it takes a lot for it. I was going to say it takes a lot for us to come out and ask for help, because literally you have to swallow your pride. You know, you go from being an NCO or a corporal over in Iraq with people under you, and you're helping them, and then now you're back and you have to swallow your pride and ask for help. And I had an issue with that when I came back. I was also going to say, Tony, that I was kind of going to joke with you and say, what do you know about Indiana? Because me and Danny know exactly what you're talking about, because we're from Kokomo and we know the stoplight in Peru. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why when you mentioned it, we laughed.
When I use Peru, man, you know that stoplight that I'm talking about. You know, the thing about it is, and I was a senior staff NCO when I left the Marine Corps, humility is a powerful tool, guys. And I think what happens with veterans, all of us, are proud people. You don't want to ask for help. But quite frankly, I always tell people I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all foreign and domestic. 1% of America does that. 99% did not do that. What we teach you in that class is to realize when you raise your right hand, you are not entitled, but you are certainly have a benefit coming to you. And you should not shuck that benefit. There are people that owe you for what you've done. There's not a lot of people that understand this transitional issue. They don't understand what you went through, Joe, this week with your PTSD. I get it clearly. I deal with veterans all the time that work for me, you know, and I've suffered from depression myself. I mean, I realize the challenges that veterans have. I think politically, legislators, people need to get up to speed on this transitional issue. Because if you focus on the transitional piece, everything else will start to take place. And you get people to understand, hey, veteran, and that's the other thing. You know, when you're in this class, this is a group hug type of class. This is a class to remind you, hey, buddy, why did you raise your right hand? Now you're out here. You got to treat getting back in your community like you were in the military. And it's tough. To your point, you got guys, corporals that you were with and people in your unit that you took care of, and the average person that doesn't realize that they want to offer you $10 an hour. And, oh, by the way, you were over there defending their country, walking down the streets of Iraq with a weapon to willing to defend that right. And I think it's a reminder to society, and that's why I told you this talent management class where we bring HRs in and we educate them on military culture. Guys, that's really proven to be a really big deal because most of them don't realize that when you have an interview, you want to face the door. You don't want your back to the door. They don't realize all these little things that we as veterans understand. You know what I mean?
Right. No, exactly. And you know the unfortunate part about it, Tony, and I've told Danny about this. Unfortunately, in society today, if people aren't affected by it, then they're not going to support it. For instance, you know, I didn't really care anything about cancer until my mom died of cancer. Now I know the effects of it, and you know I fight for that cause. But that's the problem. If you've never been established, if you've never been established in it, you're exactly right. They don't care.
That's right. And I think this story, you know, and if you ever get back to Indiana and you walk into Job Ready Vets and you walk into class, Joe, what do we miss when we leave the military? We miss camaraderie. Them is your brothers and your sisters. I mean, what happens when you're around them people? I'll tell you what happens. The stories become real, and everybody realizes, you know what? Joe has that problem going on, so do I. And I'll give you a couple examples. I got people to walk into this class, and I had one come in. We run 2 classes here this month in Indianapolis, and one of the guys, I looked at him in the class, he just looked like he was just totally pissed off. I mean, really mad.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He's retiring in 3 days. He's a first sergeant. His wife wanted him to get out. He's been in combat 3 tours. And I said to him, what are you concerned about? He said, Tony, I'm about to lose about $75,000 to $80,000 tomorrow. My concern is how am I going to provide for my family?
Yeah.
Well, there's where your transitional issues start.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the TAP class has improved a lot. Okay. I applaud them for it. The problem is TAP class in Kansas City, Missouri don't get you ready for going back home and sitting on the living room in Peru, Indiana, and your wife and kids, you're already behind on the bills and pressure just begun. You know what I mean? You can't provide for that family like you used to, so you start that depressant, abandonment, you start that process. And I really think, guys, we're really onto something. We also keep track of all the stats. We keep track of everybody we put in. We follow up with these guys after the class. Our placement rate, the reason I can tell you what it is, because I just looked today. We really watch the data. And what's interesting is these guys, when they walk out here, some of them are making, our average salary is about $47,000 when they walk out of the class, about $15-16 an hour. These folks that are from the military. It doesn't matter what rank they are. They all have incredible skills, but most of them do not know how to promote their skills.
Right.
The other thing I'll tell you, this class, guys, Joe, this class takes everything. I've had everything from general, colonel, privates, PSCs. I always tell people, look, I don't care what rank you were. I don't care what branch you were. At the end of the day, guess what we are? We're veterans. And we all go through the same transitional issues. It just, the people that are senior probably have a little bit more problem with it because you think that when you come out as a general, I've been in charge of these 10,000 people, you think that's going to entitle you to get an $85,000 job. Well, job ready today, just because you got a degree don't mean job ready. So I think our program is really something that you're going to hear a lot about in the future. I don't know of anything quite like it that's focused on, we serve veterans, spouses, and the caregiver.
Nice.
Caregiver, we got in the caregiver business because I'm running into a lot of relatives that are taking care of their wounded veterans. And as long as that wounded veteran has a TBI or a PTSD to where they have to not work and stay home because they still wet the bed, people don't realize that happens, guys. They don't realize that we got millions of people caregiving for veterans from all the way from the Vietnam War still till current that can't go to work because their disabilities does not allow them to get out of bed or function. So I think there's a story here that's being told that's very, you don't have to your point, Joe, if you don't know about it, you can't talk about it. You know what I mean? Most people don't realize. When you called me and said, hey, you've had a tough week and you've been at the VA and you got PTSD, I get it. I get it clearly. And you know what? There's good days and bad days for you, my friend. And I'm hope you get through the week here, and I thank you for your service. And more importantly, sharing on this radio station what transitioning to the community and to civilian life's all about, because people need to get in touch with it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, me and Danny, on behalf of Beer 30 show, I want to say, we appreciate what you're doing right now for us. I don't know if you said it, but my question after listening to it, because it sounds like you know exactly how we're ticking and stuff. What inspired you to do this mission? I mean, there's missions that you could do all over the place, like golf or sports, using sports as a rehabilitation. What inspired you to use this as your mission?
Well, I'll tell you, come from a very abusive childhood, for one. I went in the Marine Corps because that was going to be my family. Had an incredible career from the beginning. Was promoted really quick. Was a drill instructor at Paris Island, South Carolina. Had a White House tour, and during the end of my career, I shattered my left knee, and I was an infantry guy. And what happened was I got to my 18 and a half years, and I was on a run one morning. And, gunnies don't fall out runs. And they wanted to put me in front of a med board, and they said, hey, we'll give you a desk job. Well, hey, we make decisions all the time that you wish you could go back and change. But I said, hey, Sergeant Major, I'm not taking a desk job. He said, well, you're going to be selected for first sergeant here in just a month or two. I said, yeah, but if you can't lead from the front, get out of the way. So I walked away with that promotion right at about 19 years. And this is where my passion, Joe, comes from. I come home, and I'm thinking, okay, I did all that career. I'm going to get a medical retirement, right? So I'm sitting at home, and I never got a call, man. I kept waiting for a check to show up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I called a couple of my friends and said, well, Tony, you got to go to the VA, man. You got to go to a CMP. You had disabilities in the military, but you got to fight for that.
Right. Everything's a secret.
It is. And I will tell you, the fight for that was rough. I had no idea. And I thought, you know what? If a senior person from the military doesn't know what to do when you get out, we got a problem. And I found myself, I was working in the rental business, and I found myself, the VA called me, that Anthony Cross, your knees are shot. We're gonna take away your disability pension unless you change jobs. So I went to work for the state of Indiana as a vet rep. And I will tell you, from the time I started as a vet rep, for the first couple of years, I realized that the people I was seeing really were people that needed help, and they needed somebody to speak for them. And I've seen some just unbelievable things, as you guys can imagine, where veterans just did not know. And so I think my passion started from when I got out, and I think it's done nothing now that I've been around these veterans that have no idea. And the other thing, a lot of them have wore their pride. They don't want to ask for help, but they deserve it. And you know what? I think the company that I represent, we're going to be a spokesperson for them. And then, I sit with them and look right at them in the eye and say, hey, Cowboy, we're going to go after this now. And you deserve it. And not only that, they need somebody to care for them. People say, oh, thank you for your service. Most people that say that, I'm sure they mean it, but it's like, sorry for your loss. Well, you don't know, until, like you said, Joe, until you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt for it, you just don't know what people go through.
Exactly.
And they don't. And they don't know that a young corporal that's in the military, that's over there, got more responsibility than most people do here in the United States at an executive level job. They don't get that. So I think for me, it's a burning desire to tell the story. You know what I mean? And this little Job Ready Vets program, I will tell you guys, when you see people come out of it, and I would certainly invite you, if you guys get back over to Indiana here, to come see us so you can see it. It's really allows people to have a voice. It gives them hope again. It motivates them. They realize, my God, I don't have to just take that job. Here's the other thing, too. If I drove a truck in the military for 20 years, maybe I don't want to drive a truck out here. Maybe I want to do something else. So they take all them skills that they got and they get motivated again. And you can imagine the motivational level in that week is pretty high. I mean, I'm a senior guy, but I've got a lot of people that work around me that are motivated. They're passionate about serving. And to me, that's what's cool about our company. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tony, I know exactly what you're talking about with the whole camaraderie thing. I got out of the Navy back in 2010, and my wife's still active duty, so we had agreed that one of us was getting out. Yeah, you're a jarhead, I'm a squid. That's how it goes.
I got you. It's all good.
I mean, I don't mind being your taxi, but
That's all right. That's all right.
but we agreed that one of us was going to get out because we were planning on having kids, and I already had a lot of injuries from a lot of the incidents I had while I was in. And so we decided that I was going to be getting out because it was either me get out or get med boarded out soon anyway. So I got out, went to TAPS class, and TAPS class was okay, but it really didn't teach exactly what I was hoping it would. And when I got out, I started going to college because, you can't get a job at McDonald's anymore unless you go to college. So
That's funny.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
That's funny. That's sad, but it's funny.
Yeah, but so anyway, I decided to go to college. Take advantage of my GI Bill, and I got to stay home with the kids, go to school online, and take care of all that. Now that I'm done with school, I just graduated back in May, and when I first moved to Tennessee here with my wife, I got a job out here right as soon as I got here. So I go to this place, and it's my first job out of the military. That's a real job, and I get there, and like you were mentioning with the camaraderie, I get there and I feel very out of place. For one, it was a cashier type job where I was working at a gun store for police because my background was master at arms. So I was like, oh, this might be fun. This would be something I'm kind of used to and familiar with. And I get there, the pay was okay, but it wasn't great. And I get there and they put me on this register. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm doing my job, and I just sit there and clean like we do in the military. Clamp down on everything. And I do all this stuff, but I'm realizing I'm not being informed on anything. I'm not being talked to. I'm not feeling welcomed. I'm doing my job better than everybody else, but I just don't have that camaraderie. So I started feeling very uncomfortable and very out of place. And it got to the point where it was so uncomfortable, I talked to the owner of the store, and we had talked about it for about a week, and then we decided, a mutual separation would probably work out great if I wasn't feeling that comfortable. So it was very awkward for me. So now that we're about to go to Jacksonville, now I have a college degree, I might be able to get that job at McDonald's. But I was actually excited to talk to you because I didn't know if you guys were just in Indiana or nationwide. But I'm looking at getting a GS job now. So
very good. Very good.
I'm hoping to get it, but I mean, I just got off the phone with HRO today, and the lady there wasn't the greatest. She didn't know anything she was talking about. I knew more than she did. So I was...
Well, it's either she didn't know anything that you was talking about, Danny, or she already assumed that she didn't want to help, because you go into a fast food place and you tell them that you want this and that. They don't do the customer service anymore by giving you what's the cheapest. They play down, okay, he wants this. We're gonna give you the individual fries and the individual cheeseburger and the individual Coke and charge you $8 when it's only $6. But they want $15 an hour.
Yeah, the whole thing was just that she didn't sound like she wanted to help at all. She was actually kind of rude, didn't want to give me the information I was looking for, and I was like, okay, well, how am I supposed to know what to do if you're not going to help me? So, so I mean, your program, it's great, and I wish it was everywhere.
I think it will be. I really do. I think what you're going to see, I will tell you what I've talked to the VA about. We've been working with them because I really think in the next year or two what will happen for the state of Indiana. If you're coming back from TAP class to the state of Indiana, you're going to be required to go to job ready vets. I mean, quite frankly, at 22 veterans a day committing suicide, we can help that to some degree, right?
Oh, I agree.
So I think the other thing, I do think for a national company, I think one of the things that we are doing, because the word's getting out, so a lot of people call me from outside. If we can help with their resume or we can help do some We're setting up some. I don't like anything virtual because veterans don't do well with self-serve or virtual stuff. We're more live players, you know what I mean? So that's been one of my hesitations to try to spread the company outside. I mean, people try to have you do self-serve stuff and go on, do application online and all that. But quite frankly, when you're dealing with issues, and both of you understand this, the last thing you want to do is try to negotiate an online course to apply for a job. And then the next thing, what you're finding out, and then you just figured it out, you have somebody that, quite frankly, they don't care about you. She's going to put you through the paces, but she don't understand your story. She don't understand your skills. Mm-hmm. And I'm running into that because we run into companies that want to hire veterans, and I ask them this question: what do you do for your veterans now? Well, then you get that dead silence and that 1,000-yard stare. What do you mean? Mm-hmm. Well, hey, here's the deal. It's not just Veterans Day, not just Memorial Day. It's every day for a veteran.
Right.
And do you have affinity groups? Do you have a group that you get together once a month? We set up. Another thing we do is set up mentoring programs for companies. So, like the company there in North Carolina, say that company has veterans, we go in there and say, hey, if you're going to hire veterans, then you need to connect them with the mentor. Because yourself, if you walk into a company right now, Joe, and you run into somebody that would relate to what you go through, you're going to transition a lot better in that company.
Right.
So these are the type of things. I'll give you guys another couple of things that's happened. Speaking of transition, I'll give you a couple stories. One for sure. I had a major come out. He had an accounting degree, and he wanted to work for Edward Jones. It's his perfect job, right? So we got him to the Edward Jones, $100,000 job. He's there for about a year. Next thing you know, business is slow. So they told him to take his pamphlets and go knock on doors.
Right.
Okay. Well, you know the rest of the story. Guess what happened? He started knocking on doors and realized one day he broke out in the sweats and realized he couldn't do the job. He did that in Iraq. He couldn't do it. So he went to their HR and he left that $100,000 job because his system would not allow him to knock on doors.
Right.
That is a transitional issue. It's a flashback issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more we can educate companies, and we're really working hard here in Indiana. I mean, this grant that we just got from the state of Indiana to put the transition class in each workforce region, that's going to be a really big deal for veterans here. And we're really excited to be able to work with them and help them. And, you got spouses out there too, and of course the caregiver piece. So I think we understand the story.
Right.
And I think everyone has one, and I think veterans are the best kept secret when it comes to skill sets. They don't realize what veterans have.
Yeah.
Right.
So they don't take the time to realize that what you did for 6, 10, 15 years, and if you were in a combat situation, you just had more authority and more direct power to make decisions than most of the CEOs in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think it's just telling that story. We're blessed to be able to do it. We've grown a lot. I know personally everybody in the company has grown a lot to realize this is what we decided to do. It is a non-for-profit, so it shouldn't be about money, but it always is. And we're about to stay strong with it and do whatever we can to help the veterans. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, Tony. Hey, we're running out of time, but I tell you what, I know Danny. And I know that he's got like 25 or 30 questions. So once we get off the phone here with you, and after we do our little 2-minute warning, because we kind of skipped the power play because we felt like talking to you was more important.
Sure.
Danny will probably give you a call if that's okay.
That's fine.
Well, actually, I'll let you call me when you're free because I know you're a busy guy, and I'm free almost all the time right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Danny has no life.
Oh, really?
Can I give you a call tomorrow? Danny, or no?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely call you. You guys get back here to Indiana at all, or no?
I try to come to Indiana every 6 months. I'm a Paralympic athlete, so I try to go and visit the schools and the YMCA's and the underprivileged kids. I'm no Hollywood star or anything, but
Well, I just want you guys to promise me this, man. You get back here, please let me meet you. Come see what we're doing, be part of it. We'd love to show this to you, answer any questions we can. It's good for us, and I don't know if this is a pretty big deal to be able to just speak of it. It's just an education to people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, the next time
Yeah.
I'll be back was going to be Christmas time frame. I'll be home
Oh,
Christmas
good.
Eve, Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, and then I'm leaving to go to Jacksonville.
Well, here's the deal,
So-
man. You got my number. You call up. Let's go to dinner.
Okay.
Bring my wife with me. Let me show you where we're at. Show you what we're doing. Buy you some dinner and just talk
And-
stuff. You know what I mean?
And you're in the Peru area, or?
No. I just use Peru as a story. I'm in Indianapolis. I actually live in
okay.
Greenfield. You know where that? You guys know where that is? That's east of Indy.
Yeah,
I
my
live in the
parents are in
Greenfield area.
Columbus, so that's where I'll
Okay,
be
I
at.
know exactly where you're at. Fort Harrison is where we're at. That's where our main
Okay.
office is, right on Old Fort Harrison, Benjamin Harrison. So, yeah, but please promise me you got my number now. Call me, and I'll give you a call back tomorrow. And
Okay.
I'll be glad to talk to you about everything. And I'm guessing, we can chat. I got a couple questions, but I can ask you tomorrow when I call you.
All right, sounds great.
That's awesome. Hey, Tony, before you leave, do me a favor. Tell us,
Yeah.
your website where we can either go donate, ask for help, and
Yeah.
let me know if there's anything else that you would like to say before we let you go.
Okay. Well, first of all, the website's operationjobreadyveterans.org, or you can find it on ojrv.org. My phone number is 317-372-8665, but there's certainly a phone number on that. What I would say, if you're listening to this and you fall in some of the areas that we've talked about, yes, we're a band of brothers and sisters, and it's tough. It's tough to find help, but if we can help in any way, whether we're in Indiana, we know people around the United States that can help you, let's help you. Let's pull together and beat this thing. I will tell you, there's no bigger honor than being the finest fighting force in America, and I will tell you, we'll do whatever we can to help it. So I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak.
Oh,
Well,
no problem whatsoever at all. We're just we're glad that we found you, and we're glad that we had the opportunity to talk to you. And it looks like you're going to help Danny too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
I'm gonna
great.
help
So-
Danny. You bet. Danny probably needs some help, doesn't he?
Oh,
We won't
Well-
even go there. I want to be nice today.
Yeah, don't go there and be nice to him, right? All right, guys.
Yeah,
Hey, thank
yeah.
you so much. I appreciate it.
thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, man. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And that is the 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning brought to you by Common Ground Golf Course here in Aurora, Colorado. A place for all and all the game teaches. I thought that was a pretty fantastic interview. Sorry, Danny, it's too bad, but, we couldn't go past the 30 minutes. But
It's all good, man.
I have a
could've talked to
feeling
him
you-
like an hour or two.
yeah, I think so.
Now, it sounds like what he's doing is a great, great thing for a lot of veterans, and I really appreciate what he's doing because, like he said, you don't learn everything in TAPS class. It's so brief, and you only get a week of TAPS, and the job field is where everybody needs the most work on. And even when I started looking for jobs, a lot of people don't know when you apply now, it's not in person. You don't write a little application out like we used to when we were kids, like 16, 17-year-olds trying to get a job. It's putting a resume up in. And nowadays, you're putting a resume in online. Nobody really reads it. It picks up
Right.
keywords. So when it picks up those, if you don't have those keywords in your resume, you're not going to get picked up to even look at you, to somebody to even look at your resume. And it's very difficult for veterans to get a job. And a lot of times, we're actually overqualified for the job. And a lot of people don't know that. So it's really nice talking to him and, and knowing that somebody's out there that understands our pain. So
No, I totally get it. I can honestly say that when I exited the service, the exiting program, it didn't work for me whatsoever at all. I think maybe I got a resume out of it, but it didn't work for me. And the thing that he was kind of brushing up on, and I didn't mention, I don't know if it happened to you or not, but in the military and in the VA system, you can't double dip. So if you get a percentage from getting out of the Army, Navy, or whatever, say you get 10%. If you get out 10%, you get that lump sum. But what people forget to remind you is that you have to pay that lump sum back before you get the award letter for VA. So you might as well, once you get it, just give it back. But then you're in trouble because you don't have any way to put food on the table. And I think, there's a lot of soldiers that want to get out of the military, but they don't because they're too scared of the unknown.
Oh yeah, totally. So, anyway, everybody, we are out of time.
We are.
Thank you for joining us for our show. I hope you guys learned a lot, and we look forward to talking to you guys again in a few days.
Yeah, we'll guess we'll see you guys next Friday.
All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Rockin' the troops.
Bruce Springsteen, Elton John, the Beatles, people that paved the way for us.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm David Bowie.
Hi, this is Jimmy Page.
Hello, this is Rod Stewart.
Saluting those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for their country.
rock and roll.
This is MBR.